This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous. Your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here. You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like a child when you see me standing here. Now I'm standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg, and alongside with me, as always, is Steve Riddle. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back again as we continue our trek through the tedious year that has been 2007.
Yeah, again, we find ourselves sandwiched in between one ECW show, the Great American Bash, and our second ECW show. So, we're as we are marching towards the Great American Bash, where it'll be CM Punk versus Johnny Nitro for the ECW Championship. But we lost some guys. We're past the Benoit thing. We lost Marcus Corvon. So, like we said, ECW has to rebuild itself. And so I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot of the same matches, like we said, but we'll see what happens. We did get a debut the last time. We have Big Daddy V, as he's now called, formerly known as Viscera. He's here. We'll see him in action. But other than that, yeah, we are on the march to the Great American Bash. We are ECW, July 17th, 2007. We're in Laredo, Texas. We've been in Texas for a while. In June, I feel like we've been there for like June and July. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, it has been kind of unusual that we have been kind of occupied the state of Texas for the last month.
Yeah. So we're back there. It's a huge crowd, because again, you got the SmackDown and the ECW stars going together. Oh, there's a press conference outside of Johnny Nitro's locker room, and his agent comes out and says this will be Johnny Nitro's last night in ECW. So when he first said that, I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going with. What does this mean? I was a little bit shocked they were like going with an angle here. I forgot this. We know what he becomes, but I didn't know it was back here.
Yeah, I was more shocked that they decided to do it on the go home, basically, to the Bash, and not maybe not like the week after.
Yeah, so they're playing it off like Johnny Nitro is going to leave ECW. But, I mean, again, Joey Styles is like, well, what's going to happen to the title? And CM Punk is the number one contender. So we'll have to see what that's all about. But to kick off this ECW show, we have, again, it seems, but again, we're short on roster, but you always get a good match between these two. CM Punk versus Elijah Burke. Before we get into it, Steve, I do have to bring up that the crowd was really, I think, silent during this match here. They were kind of chanting CM Punk, but for the most part, they were really quiet here. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I mean, I don't know if it's just that maybe just the Laredo crowd's not a hot market for them, or because like you said, they definitely did get hot for Punk, but maybe it's just, again, like we've said before, the repetition of just seeing the same match over and over again is now starting to kind of to kind of rear its ugly head, because as good as these guys are together and as good as matches they have, there's only so many times that you can see it before it really starts to get repetitive.
Yeah, and it gets stale. I mean, if you've been watching like the ECW shows before, you go to the live taping or like the live show, you know what's going to come. So it's like, oh, we got to do this again, So you can see that maybe they were paying attention and being like, oh, we're going to get this probably again. So let's see what we got here. Arm drags and knees to Burke. To Burke's shoulder, kicks to Elijah and a leg drop. Punk is really working on Burke's shoulder. Like Elijah Burke is like really complaining to the referee about his shoulder. Hurricanrana to the outside by Burke. Boston Crab to Punk. Burke goes to work on Punk's lower back area. So they're really playing off each other. Punk goes for the shoulder while Burke works on the lower back, and it's working. Uppercut to Punk. Clothesline and a flapjack to Burke. Back suplex to Punk. A DDT by Punk for a 2 count. And then a GTS out of nowhere for the win. For this matchup, Steve, I went 2 1/4. I thought it was good, but again, it's like repetitive. And like they're not showing us anything new, but they are still showing us the energy of hanging with each other and being able to work with each other. So I went 2 1/4 on it. It was good starts.
Yeah, I went 3 on it. I mean, it's funny, we complain about the repetitiveness, and yet I think every match we've seen of them, at least I've given it no less than 3 stars. It just goes to show how good a chemistry they have together. They, again, good solid back and forth between the two. Like I said, Punk working the shoulder, and then Burke kind of focusing on the lower back. That springboard, those like springboard elbow Burke does is always nice and crisp. He hit that really good. And then really out of nowhere came that finish. Just kind of just hit the GTS out of nowhere. But again, I mean, to their credit, they gave these guys 14 and a half minutes to really go out and put on a decent effort. But again, it's just like you said, we've seen these guys now, and we've seen them in a regular match. We've seen them before in an Extreme Rules match. We've seen them in a 2 out of 3 falls. So it's like, how many more times and how many more different matches can we see of them before, again, it kind of starts getting to be a little too much?
Yep. So CM Punk gets the win right before the Great American Bash. So it's good on him. And now we have Big Daddy V. Well, first we have Matt Striker. He comes out to the ring, and he introduces Big Daddy V. He's looking gigantic, like big, and he goes up against the jobber, Tim Storm. For this matchup, I wanted to go dud, but I gave it a 1/4 star, only because I think that, Big Daddy V is showing a good, beat down, even though it's against a jobber, and he really squashes him. But Viscera or Big Daddy V looks massive, and I want to see what they really go with him, where they go with him for future ECW episodes. But it's a 1/4 star.
Yeah, I went a 1/4 star too. Just pretty much here to get V over, and Tim Storm, he's definitely not your he was a lot bigger than your average jobber. I mean, normally those guys are kind of, especially when they're going up against guys like Big Daddy V, are usually small or scrawny guys that the Giants can throw around. But Storm was a pretty big guy, but yet V was handling them pretty well with some of his power moves, like the Samoan drop and then the sidewalk slam for the win. So, good little showing here to get V over strong, and we'll see how he continues to grow over this time.
Yep. So then now we have The Miz. He's in the ring, says chicks love him and the men fear him, basically. It's almost like the opposite of Sable, for the men who come to see me and for the women who want to be me, So The Miz is saying chicks dig me and the men fear me, So he's being a little cocky person that he is. He invites Extreme Expose, and they come to the ring, and the girls start dancing for Miz. And you know what I thought was going to happen, Steve? I thought they were actually going to set the Miz up for, if you recall, Big Dick Johnson on ECW. I thought they were gonna like bring him out and have him dance in front of the Miz and like freak him out. That's what I was looking for. I was like, oh no, they actually went with the girls putting on this performance for the Miz here.
It's funny. I thought the exact same. I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like, Miz is, too trusting of Layla. Considering the last time this happened between them, it was like you said when Big Dick Johnson came out and they played with them. But yeah, the Miz's promo was really weird. It's like the way he was like delivering the lines about him being a chick magnet, almost sounded like he was almost like he was in like he was addicted. Like it was like, and he was like in like Alcoholics Anonymous almost, where I was almost waiting for him to say like, "Hi, my name's the Miz, and I'm a chick magnet." So, yeah, and it's just like very condescending, and we kind of spoke on the last episode like when he fought Nunzio, like was he supposed to be a face or was he supposed to be a heel? He definitely sounded definitely a lot more heelish with this promo, but then yet you got him fawning with Extreme Expose, who are also fawning over him. So it's like, are they starting a heel turn, or is it just one of those things like, yeah, it's just this whole storyline, right? Whole thing going with Miz and Extreme Expose is really weird. I'll be interested to see how it plays out over these next few weeks.
Yeah, and let's see what the Miz actually does as well. So now we have, let's see. Oh, we have Tommy Dreamer versus Kevin Thorne. We've seen this a couple of times, but it's good for what it is. Hip toss by Tommy Dreamer, arm lock to Tommy, shoulder tackle by Thorne. Thorne continues to work on Tommy's shoulder. A neck breaker by Tommy. Modified frog splash to Thorne. Shoulder breaker to Tommy. Clothesline by Tommy. Thorne throws Tommy into the ring post, and then he pins him. So, no, oh yeah. But then Tommy gets the surprise win here. Is it that one? Yeah. No. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, that's not it. My bad. I got it wrong. Tommy into the ring post, and then he just pins him. So I want to start in a quarter on this matchup. I forgot what match we were having, because I know what the next match is with Kevin Thorne. I got it backwards. Sorry about that. So he throws him into the ring post and just pins him, and I want to start on a quarter on it. But then after he gives him the original sin, it's like, why didn't you just pin him with the original sin?
Yeah, I went star and a half. It was, again, fine stuff. Another one for Thorne as he's kind of continues to just kind of be aimless. Dreamer again putting somebody over, and yeah, just again really weird ending. I know that Thorne had been working the shoulder the whole time, but for him to just kind of send Dreamer into the post and then just pin him so nonchalantly just seemed really bizarre. And especially, like you said, then he just gives him the original sin after the match anyway. So it's like, why not just hit the original sin after you threw him into the post and then you get the win? So I don't know.
Yeah. So Thorne's still looking pretty sharp over Tommy. They're still really trying to play this like vampire character and prove that he belongs and that he is a strong contender. But I think it's just the clothes that make him look weird and like the whole vampire gimmick. But we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So now, after all this hype of what's going to happen with Johnny Nitro, he comes out to the ring, says he is Johnny Nitro no more. So the reason why he says Johnny Nitro is leaving ECW is because Johnny Nitro, the name Johnny Nitro, is no more. Instead, he is now called John Morrison. He goes over like all of his accomplishments, like a real arrogant prick sort of like thing, like I was this and that, he said like he helped his basketball team come back from a 34-point deficit. and like he was like an overachiever and all this stuff. And then he asked like what the CM stands for in CM Punk. Punk comes to the ring. Nitro hits Punk with the mic, and then he hits him with the corkscrew neck breaker by Morrison. So John Morrison is now born. Johnny Nitro is gone, Steve.
Yeah, this again was kind of weird. Like I get almost why he wanted to kind of get away from the like a Eminem branding and kind of branch out on his own. He's got kind of the looks not too updated, but but he's got like the teased up hair and like the new outfit and his theme is very the very rudimentary only theme for him. I forgot that it was that basic, but yeah, the promo just felt too like dry for me. Like you said, just really putting himself over. It reminded me a lot of what was it? Again, I think it was like this fall of like September 06 when he and Melina had that press conference that was like critically panned by everyone to the point that because that was when he was shooting with Jeff Hardy for the IC title, and that was when Jeff made the reference that Nitro like watching paint dry is more entertaining than Nitro. I kind of got the same vibes here as he's trying to kind of rebrand himself. Yeah, he's just coming across so wooden and so just blasé. I did again, like I said, putting himself over. What's the CM stand for? Just so lame, really. And then the only good part about it was actually the attack on Punk when he kind of got that cheap shot and then he hit the corkscrew neck breakers. So that kind of saved the segment. But he's definitely got to really work on his promo skills if he wants to be taken seriously as the top heel of the brand.
Yeah, to me, he felt like one of those like typical movie characters, like in high school, like, oh yeah, bro, that was like all me, and like I did that, like this is all me. I'm trying to think of like a movie. I think it's like in 21 Jump Street with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. Like he's one of those like flashy kids. Like he's like not really the sports jock, but and is like the drama kid. He's just there. It's like, yeah, I'm rich, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my parents pay for everything. Like he was really doing that and stuff. So like that's how I really came off. Like, yeah, I'm rich, man. Everyone hangs out with me and stuff. So I think it was a good. I thought it was an all right promo, and it was good to like. I felt like it was good for the champion to get like the last shot in on the challenger, and he hits him with the microphone and then like the corkscrew moonsault, the corkscrew neck breaker. So we'll see how the Great American Bash panned out as we get into ECW, our second episode of the night. ECW, July 24th, 2007. We're live in Fresno, California. So we're finally not in Texas, and we are in a new state, California.
Definitely, yeah. Get out of Texas finally. I will just quickly just mention. I know we've been talking a lot this whole year about some of the big wrestler deaths. Of course, we're still the Benoit situation is still fresh in our minds, but we did have another passing actually the day after our last ECW and a tie into ECW because that was the day that the one half of the Eliminators, Cronus, passed away.
Wow.
It just says here that he passed away on that day. He was only, where are you? Yeah. 38 years old.
38 years old?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently according to this, he was found dead in his fiance's home on July 18th, several days after undergoing knee surgery. He died in his sleep. Apparently, according to the autopsy, his death was attributed to heart failure resulting from an enlarged heart.
Okay, geez. So, the whole government crackdown on the steroids and everything needs to come into play. Like, not even for like the wrestlers, like who are the superstars who are in ECW or in WWE now in 2007, but like it's not looking good for like the other side of the guys who are just like passing away who haven't been in WWE or ECW in a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
To do like all the drugs and like the steroids and like whatever they took. Yeah, so another one. I didn't even know Cronus was dead until you said it. I was like, I wonder if Cronus is still alive, like the Eliminators. But you proved my point that he's not alive.
Mm.
Yeah, so another one, and even August is not going to be good for us too with pro wrestling deaths either. But alas, the show always must go on, and we're here live in Fresno. John Morrison comes to the ring, not Johnny Nitro anymore. John Morrison comes to the ring, and last night on Sunday, that would be July 21st, I believe. Yeah, the 22nd. Yep,
22nd,
July 22nd. John Morrison defeats CM Punk to retain the ECW championship, and he's carrying around the ECW title. Morrison said it's his mission to make a believer out of everyone, and he made believers out of everyone at the Great American Bash. He said he was destined for great things. Says Punk will never get another title shot. Morrison is going to give someone a title shot if they can beat him in 15 minutes or less. No name jobber comes out. Morrison just headbutts him, and then the corkscrew neckbreaker for the pin in 34 seconds. This was not a match. I did not rate it. It was interesting, good heel tactic that, Morrison's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take on the toughest, baddest guy ever. And here comes this small fry jobber to get his butt handed to him, too, in 34 seconds. So I thought it was a funny ha-ha from Morrison trying to be that, cocky heel bad guy. Like, I could take on anybody.
Yeah, I didn't rate it either. I remember being shocked that they had Morrison win at the pay-per-view. Not just win, but win fairly clean. You figure, I'm sure many thought after the way that the last show ended that that was almost a given that Punk was going to win the belt, but instead they did have Morrison retain. And again, the typical heel trope, like, oh, I've beaten him, now I'm moving on from him, and he's kind of interesting that he would set up this little segment of his, this, I think he called it like the 15 minutes of fame. And the whole thing was like, if the guy could beat him or last the 15 minutes with him, they would get a future title shot. And then, like you said, this, he hypes up this, this guy that he saw in the back as this big, tough guy that's going to give him a challenge. And out comes this, scrawny jobber, and he gets, laid waste in 34 seconds. So, yeah, good, just good way to get more heat on Morrison as he continues this run.
Yep. And then so now we have Kevin Thorne versus Stevie Richards. So there's Kevin Thorne still marching on in ECW. And again, we have Stevie Richards coming back. I'm thinking by now I thought Stevie Richards was done, but it's amazing to see how long he actually stays on for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we actually got him until well into 2008 because he's kind of they'll have him pop in every now and then and give him a little mini push. So we'll obviously have that to look forward to down the line.
Yeah. Kevin Thorne versus Steven Richards. Clothesline by Thorne. Drop kick by Stevie. Thorne takes out Stevie's legs on the outside. Backbreaker by Thorne. Spine buster to Stevie. Thorne goes for the original sin, but Stevie counters it into a roll-up for the win. For this matchup, Steve, I want a 1.5. I did like it. I thought that Stevie brought out the best in Punk, the best in Thorne. And for Stevie to get the win here was very surprising. I thought Thorne was just going to clean him up and win with the original sin, but no, they gave Stevie the win here. So a 1.5 for me.
Star and a quarter for me. Again, just kind of basic stuff. Thorne pretty much dominates. Stevie gets a little bit of, little offense in, but then, like I said, the shocker at the end when he pins him. Again, I don't know if this is going to be something towards where they're kind of giving Stevie this little underdog like run, to maybe be something, be something. I'm sure he and if they were to set something up with like him and Morrison, that could, provide a decent little match. And then obviously, again, now, what does this mean for Thorne? He's now, we've seen him over the last couple of weeks kind of just, randomly beating guys, mainly Dreamer, but now he's just dropped the match to Stevie, who's pretty much been a jobber at this point. So what's that do for him now?
Yeah. So like, let's see what happens to Thorne. Let's see if he bounces back, or is he just going to start losing matches now? Again, we are going to see repetitiveness here as well. As you saw like 2 weeks ago was the Miz versus Nunzio. We're getting that match again. We're getting the Miz versus Nunzio again. Miz calls out Extreme Expose, and they all come out and they watch the Miz take on Nunzio. Nunzio takes Miz out, takes Miz off his feet, a crossbody to Miz. Huge kick to Nunzio from Miz. Huge clothesline by Miz. Tilt-a-whirl by Nunzio. Nunzio hits a Sicilian slice for a 2 count. Miz hits a neckbreaker for the win. For this matchup, Steve, I want a star and a quarter. It was fine too, but like it felt like the same as the Stevie Richards versus Thorne vibes here as well. Just that surprising counter here. So the Miz gets another win. What did you give the match?
I gave it a star. It was fine. Unlike the match they had 2 weeks ago where you weren't sure who was whether Miz was supposed to be a face or a heel. Here he's a lot more defined as the heel. Nunzio's definitely the face. Miz again doing his whole I'm a chick magnet, addict promo at the beginning, before bringing Extreme Expose out, and then and then like we said, they had a decent, just kind of 3.5 minutes. Miz dominates most of it. Nunzio gets a couple shots in, but then Miz wins with that neck breaker, and then he brings Extreme Expose into the ring, and then they dance. And he's just like so awkward. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's really cringeworthy to see this this goofball trying to impress these 3 hot ladies.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, oh man, like, and he's trying to like dance, like, oh yeah, you do the robot. It's like, bro, no, don't do that. But like they were sort of like hands on with him, being like, oh yeah, like we love you, Miz, So I hope it brings up to like a triple threat to see who gets to go on like a date with the Miz. I hope it goes to like something like that, where the Miz like making them like work to like get a date with him or something like that, That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So now we have again Big Daddy V versus local jobbers. Big Daddy V throws these guys around basically. Again, it's the same thing. For this one, I went a dud, Steve. It was the same thing, He just kills these guys. So I feel like Big Daddy V is getting the Snitsky treatment. So I have a feeling that Balls Mahoney is not too far down the line for Big Daddy V to crush him as well.
Yeah, I went a quarter star. The jobbers, by the way, their names are Jimmy Cruz and Victor Calvillo. I believe that's how you pronounce the last name. They didn't say like specify which one was which, but the bigger guy, he kind of looked like he was doing like a really bad Bruiser Brody cosplay with the furry boots and the long hair, and again just kind of more just having V throw around a couple of jobbers. Now they're kind of going the Andre route with him by having him face going these handicap matches against these jobbers, to the point that he pins them both at the same time like Andre used to do. So again, another win for V, and like you said, we'll see where this goes from here for him.
Yep. And now, Steve, it is time for our main event, and If you thought that CM Punk versus Elijah Burke was out of the cards, it's not, but it's in a tag team match this time. It's CM Punk and Tommy Dreamer versus Elijah Burke and John Morrison. Burke tags in Morrison because like Punk really wants to face him. Morrison and Burke go to work on Punk. Punk kicks Morrison and tosses Burke to the outside. Slingshot somersault to Burke. Diving elbow by Tommy. Tommy slams Morrison and slingshots him into the ring post. Texas Clover Leap to Morrison. Drop kick to Tommy's knee. To drop kick to Tommy's face. Huge kick to the back of Tommy's head by Burke. Springboard elbow by Burke. Backdrop to Morrison by Tommy. Neckbreaker to Morrison. Tag to Punk. Crossbody to Morrison. Springboard elbow to Burke. The running knee and bulldog to Burke. Shining Wizard to Morrison. And then a GTS to Burke for the win. For this matchup, Steve, I went 2 1/4. I thought it was a great matchup here. Tommy did what Tommy had to do. He's got to take mostly the beating from the bad guys so Punk can get the heated finish, like the hot tag, as they say. That's what it is. But Tommy held his own against Morrison and Burke as well, where it seems like they are trying to go with the new guys beating up on Tommy. Tommy gets a lot of shots in during this matchup here.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on this as well. And again, these guys, get a lot of time. They got almost 16 minutes, which again for a 1-hour TV show is, it's a lot. And but these are the 4 best guys to do it with. Dreamer, even though he has been kind of in the mode of putting you guys over, he's obviously, the other big name that they have on the brand that they have to put him in this, in a spot like this to partner up with Punk, since there's really nobody else on the ECW roster that can do that. Morrison and Burke, I thought made a nice little team, almost like they actually almost had like matching colors, which was kind of unique, kind of showing a little solidarity. And Punk and Morrison, they do get some more interaction with each other. Like you said, Dreamer plays the face in peril, then gets the hot tag to Punk, and then he kind of runs through both guys, and then eventually, he does get the win for the team. He doesn't, pin Morrison, though he does pin Burke, so kind of put in another, notch for that. But it's very clear that it looks like that Punk and Morrison are potentially heading for another collision course and for their third match together come SummerSlam.
I know. Like, it seems that, like, we're on the board already to, like, head to SummerSlam. And another thing I wanted to bring up, 2 things. Number 1, John Cena retained the WWE title against Bobby Lashley at the Great American Bash. And there was a promo for Triple H returning at SummerSlam. He will return after his quadriceps injury that happened at the New Year's Resolution pay-per-view in January of 2007. So Triple H is also making his comeback.
Yeah, so because I know we didn't talk about it, but on the last ECW show they did like a video package for Cena and Lashley, and it got you hyped up because that was a pretty big matchup for the pay-per-view, and they ended up actually delivering a kind of forgotten great match. Kind of sad though that would be kind of Lashley's kind of last big moment, because I think not long after that he does get forced to the sidelines due to injury, and then by early 2008 he gets released to everyone's surprise. So kind of a quiet end to a guy that really kind of dominated ECW from the end of 2006 into for most of this year.
Yeah, again, I don't know what happened. Do they not have enough faith into Lashley too? Should they have kept him on ECW? That is also the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like I said, the Triple H vignette to hype his return, and he's actually, and of course he's not the only one returning at SummerSlam. We also know that Rey Mysterio will be returning at SummerSlam as well from injury. So right off the bat, SummerSlam's already shaping up to be be a pretty historic show with those two big returns.
Oh yeah, because Mysterio had his knee surgery from '06. Did that knee surgery again too from the I Quit match by Chavo Guerrero. So we'll see how that pans out for everybody. So yeah, so we're on the march to SummerSlam. Hopefully we are on to I want to see how they pan out these ECW episodes. If we really are getting, well, it's highly likely, but I mean, if we are really getting Punk Morrison now, part 3 here, so we'll see what happens. Well, that's going to do it from us here on Extreme Resurrection. But before we go, Steve, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
So you can usually find me over on the PTB Pop Experience with my usual shows over there, Making Mount Rushmore, the Video Jukebox Song of the Day, as well as Pop Goes Classics. That's me, Andy, and Miranda. We're going through all the Disney animated films. Our last episode, we recently did Lilo and Stitch, which was a lot of fun. So our next episode will be about Treasure Planet, as we kind of hit this little, I think, kind of like this nadir for Disney in the 2000s. So it'll be interesting to get to that. Also can be found periodically on other podcasts around this feed and the North-South Connection feed. I will actually just go ahead and say it. I will be on a future episode of the Place to Be podcast where me, Scott, and JT, we of course they're now doing their new little format where they're basically they're going to be talking about like a history in a wrestling town, and then live watch a match from that city. When I was on, we talked the history of wrestling in Las Vegas because that's my current home, and we did the live watch of the Eddie Ray Cruiserweight title match from Halloween Havoc '97. So be sure to watch that or listen to that. And like I said, North-South Connection. If you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channel yet, please do so. They do a lot of great stuff over there. And finally, of course, the PTB Facebook group. By the time we're recording this, the Greatest Song of the 2000s tournament is now in the Sweet 16, meaning basically the regional finals. So we are getting down to the wire here. So by the time this drops, the tournament will either already have been decided or will be down possibly to the either the finals or the Final Four. So we are getting very close to determining what PTB Nation has chosen as the greatest song of the 2000s.
Oh, yes. And, you hate to see those heartbreak matchups go up against each other, that you've been writing one song all the way and it's going up against a more popular song,
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, oh, I know this one's. I'm gonna stick with my gut, but I know it's not gonna win. So I'm gonna enjoy to see what is the greatest song of 2000, and as this pans out. But you're doing a great job with that.
Thank you, and I do want to say thank you to everybody that has participated in that tournament. It was a lot of work, but it definitely was very rewarding.
As for me, you can find me mostly on here on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed. Besides this podcast, I have another podcast called Nation Invasion, where I look back on the WCW ECW invasion of WWF at the time. From July until November of 2001, we actually just dropped the Nation of in WWF Invasion pay-per-view watch along, where it was me and Matt Souza. We rated the matches. We asked if Rhino was the right guy to be put into the main event as the ECW single representative, or could it have been Rob Van Dam, and a whole lot more. There as we watched that whole pay-per-view together. So you can check that out. Well, that's going to do it from us here on Extreme Resurrection. He's Steve Riddle. I'm James Gruenberg, and we will see you next time.